What if I told you that this list of the 18 different skills we use is actually a list of 108 possible skills, most of which you aren't even playing with? You'd call me crazy. And I'd say, I'm not crazy. I'm just misleading you with something that's technically correct, but not really all that accurate. Allow me to explain with a common example you've probably experienced yourself, or at the very least you've heard of. Our giant Goliath barbarian friend with a 20 in their strength wants to intimidate some bandits by smashing their axe through a table. But charisma is their dump stat, so they roll intimidation with a -1, making them not very likely to succeed. Enter the Elven Bard, a skinny little prick like me. Strength is their dump stat, and they try and do the exact same thing. Smash a table to scare the brigands, and they get to roll intimidation with a +5, a +7, a +9, or even more. Yes, the Bard should be good at charisma stuff, and the Barbarian should be good at all the strength stuff. But this intimidation check isn't really about being charismatic, or anything else that ability represents. It's about our Goliath being a frothing at the mouth mountain of muscles, shattering something with ease, because that's pretty damn intimidating. It should have a better chance to succeed than a -1, because our player wanted their character to no talk so good. You can fix this by calling for a strength intimidation check, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's an intimidation check where you swap out the player's charisma modifier for their strength modifier. And you can do this with any skill using any ability, making for a total of 108 different combinations, most of which you won't ever use. I told you it was misleading. I'm very curious to see how this video is going to be received, because I feel like this is fairly common knowledge. I don't think I'm pulling back a curtain and revealing a grand secret here. This is something that veterans are especially familiar with already. But the paragraph that describes this in the 5th edition Player's Handbook is pretty easy to miss, or just forget about, especially in the 2014 version, which calls it a variant rule for some reason. Why would you make this a variant rule? Bad. I started with 5th edition, and I didn't know this was a thing for several years. Maybe some of you newer players will be hearing it for the first time, which is awesome. Glad I could put you onto it. But regardless, no matter how many games I'm in, no matter how many tables I'm at, no matter how many actual plays I watch, I rarely ever see it being put to use. Like, we all know this is an option, but nobody's opting into it, which sucks. I feel like it can add so much depth to the game. This allows for more creativity, something I am always looking to get more of. It lets characters who aren't innately talented at a particular skill be great at it on occasion, when the situation arises that just lets them lean into their particular skill set to get that job done. You have your straightforward charisma intimidation checks, and you can do a display of raw might to use your strength. You could throw a dagger with pinpoint precision, shave off a few hairs from the bad guy's head, and that could be a dexterity intimidation check. You could grab a whole keg, just pop it, just start chugging the thing while you stare somebody down. That's constitution intimidation. If you're a wizard or a cleric, maybe you fire off a spell to make a whole crowd flee. Intimidation check using your spellcasting ability modifier. And you can just keep doing this again and again and again. You can come up with all sorts of scenarios where an ability substitution makes sense. The 2014 Player's Handbook has a great example of a constitution athletics check for swimming across a large body of water, as it is an athletic activity, of course, we can all agree on that, but it relies on endurance more than it does brawn. I think that makes a lot of sense. If you ducked your head under the surface, and you waited for someone to pass by overhead so you could go unseen, maybe that's a constitution stealth check, because it relies on you holding your breath for a really long time. You grab a coin purse, maybe your coin poise. You grab a coin purse, maybe your coin... Why can I not fucking say that twice in a row? Grab a coin purse. It doesn't matter whose coin purse it is. And you check its weight to see if it's the same weight as it was before. Maybe that's dexterity investigation. Yeah, I think a regular investigation check could work just as well. But if you like providing options like I do, I think the ability substitution does work. Also, this is a really abrupt segue. This video is sponsored by Latecomer Games and their upcoming Kickstarter for Hedge Maze of the Crescent Queen, a dark yet whimsical Fae-themed adventure for D&D 5e where your party is thrown into a Fae-themed hedge maze. Did I make that clear enough yet? Because it is such a cool concept. The adventure includes new monsters and NPCs, magic items, and full art maps to play in. Plus, a few unique systems such as the Lostness, an ever-present magical threat that steals your memories with every long rest you take, urging players to escape as quickly as possible before they become a faint portrait of who they once were. Created with flexibility in mind, there are several linear storylines you can follow if you want to make GM prep quick and easy. But if you like embracing the improv, you can also engage with a more sandbox style of play. You can get the PDF for only $10, and all the stretch goals for $20. If you want to go above and beyond, there will be additional perks too. If you want a sneak peek of what's in store, you can watch me play it with some other great content creators in a game run by the writer himself. It was an insanely fun time. The Kickstarter launches on Monday, March 24th, the first crescent moon of spring. Links in the description. I'm going to try and start incentivizing my players to lean into this more. Get them thinking about how their character might approach a skill test differently. Prompt them to get creative. I want my tables to stop thinking, these are the ability scores tied to each skill, and instead think, these are the default ability scores for each skill. They're the fallback, the standard, the typical, not the mandatory. Open their eyes to how many avenues of play they can actually explore if they're just willing to pitch me on some ideas. This can also make players more inclined to take proficiency in a skill that doesn't line up with their highest ability scores. Taking proficiency in intimidation as a barbarian who dumped your charisma can feel really shitty. Because, well, the bonus hardly makes you any good at the skill. It just negates the downside. It makes you better, but not good at it. A lot of people end up only picking skills that line up with their 2 highest stats as a result. You might as well focus on the things you're good at and make them great, right? Using these kinds of skill checks can make it easier for people to realize the kind of character they're going for. If you're trying to make a character that's incredibly strong and scary, but not really personable, like a stereotypical barbarian, can be tough if you don't let these skills be malleable. Max your strength, you get the strong part. Dump your charisma, you get the impersonal part. And then howdy dog. Scary gets caught in the middle, stuck under the umbrella of charisma. By allowing yourself to swap out abilities for skills when and where it's appropriate, you can help fix this umbrella issue. You can be more prepared for those niche scenarios where the umbrella is not covering things correctly. You can make the strong and impersonal guy scary. Speaking of things that are scary, watch out! Oh no, there's money in your wallet! Quick! Hand it over to me. If you're feeling generous, you can support the channel with a donation. That way, I can continue to protect you from all that scary stuff out there while creating better quality content more frequently. If you want to talk about how you defend yourself from ghosts and ghouls, leave a comment. And also, subscribe so you can come back for more tips on supernatural security. Also, like the video, or I'll haunt you.
He was a ghost the whole time. The whole time.